Port Elizabeth, and we've got Iviwe Poti who is joining us now. Iviwe, it seems that people, well, I don't know, at this stage, I don't know what they're feeling. I mean, is there a reaction in Port Elizabeth to the news of President Jacob Zuma's recall?
Leanne, you know, there is a bit of reaction. We've managed to speak to quite a few people a bit earlier. We are downtown now here in Port Elizabeth. A lot of people, you know, alluding to the fact that as well as the ANC actually saying that they have recalled President Jacob Zuma, they are waiting for resignation. But I'm just going to try and walk over, maybe just grab a person or two, see if anyone... Okay, here's a gentleman. So tell us, with the announcement that has been made from the SABC, just going around finding out what is it, how are people feeling that the announcement has been made that the ANC has decided to recall President Jacob Zuma?
Honestly, Jacob Zuma being recalled by the ANC is great news, but we're all waiting for him to resign. I think that's the main issue here, for him to resign, and there's still a bit of unrest among the people because it hasn't really assured us that President Jacob Zuma has left office. That's what we want to hear, not that the ANC has recalled Jacob Zuma. Yes, it's a big step towards the right direction, but what the opposition and the people are really wanting is Jacob Zuma to leave office.
Thank you so much for your time. Well, I don't know if there's more people walking by that will want to speak to us, Leanne, but we can try. Seems like people are a bit camera shy out here, Leanne. But the people that we did speak to earlier were saying that, you know, in terms of what has been happening in South Africa at this time, the political climate, the unrest in community members, waiting for a decision to be made, waiting to hear whether President Jacob Zuma will resign or not, has kept them anxious. They do see some type of leadership now and are hoping that the president will actually step down.
Iviwe, thank you very much. We'll cross to you a little bit later on if you do get more reaction from the people that are there. Now, of course, there's reaction coming in from every foundation, every organization, and one of the big ones, Peter, is that, of course, of the Thabo Mbeki Foundation. They have just released a statement as well, giving their reaction to all of it. So, I don't know, I know you've got
Yeah, they have. And this is actually quite interesting because, you know, Thabo Mbeki has been quite careful to keep himself out of speaking particularly about Jacob Zuma and his resignation. He's commented about government and things that needed to happen. So the Thabo Mbeki Foundation have released a statement saying the Thabo Mbeki Foundation welcomes the recall of President Jacob Zuma. For a long time now, many in our country have called for the removal of Mr. Jacob Zuma as President of the Republic. This was because, amongst others, he faces the possibility of prosecution for alleged criminal offences and is directly associated with negative developments, such as the alleged corruption of various state bodies, i.e. state-owned enterprises, the National Prosecuting Authority, state capture and serious economic mismanagement. It has been obvious for many years that the interests of our country would be best served if indeed Mr. Zuma ceased to be President of the Republic. We therefore welcome the decision announced today by the National Executive Committee of the governing party, the ANC, to recall Mr. Zuma as a deployee of the ANC in his capacity as President of the Republic. As a disciplined and loyal cadre of the ANC and out of respect for the constitution of the country, Mr. Zuma must communicate with the Speaker of the House of Assembly to tender his resignation as President of the Republic. This long overdue resolution by the NEC of the African National Congress gives the possibility for the ANC as the governing party to urgently and immediately attend to the many challenges and negative developments which have arisen during the years of the presidency of Mr. Zuma.
That is
quite
telling.
Serious.
I mean, it's very serious. Straight to the point, saying things that haven't necessarily come out of the mouth of our former President Thabo Mbeki before. I mean, it's quite telling getting a response from President Thabo Mbeki to a recall when, in fact, at the time, he was recalled in the same manner.
Yes, indeed. Although the conditions, circumstances were so vastly different between these two presidents. And it is, in Zuma's case, it was cumulative, it was relentless. And there has been so much civil society mobilization and civic organizations mobilizing. And within the ANC, gradually that builds up until December last year. So it was this all-encircling tightening of the net around President Jacob Zuma that brought us to this point now. And as that statement says, so much damage has been done in this time in between, and so much work is urgently required to correct that.
We're going to get more of those thoughts, because I'm quite intrigued by this release. And maybe this is a push that he needs from a peer to get him to make the right decision, whatever that decision might be. But in the meantime, let's get the thoughts of people at home who have been watching this on Twitter. Alicia, what are people saying?
Very interesting, guys, that you draw that comparison, because I don't think we've heard in South African history that Thabo Mbeki has ever made way or provisions for the two to actually sit down and come to some sort of understanding when it comes to his resignation. Here are the tweets now. Zaysim says, according to the NC, Mr. Zuma has done nothing wrong, says Ace Magashule. They're merely kicking him out to align the presidency of the party with that of the country. No wonder Zuma is defiant. They can't answer his question. What have I done? And that's the question that we hear that the president has been asking the NEC. What is it that I have done? Karabo Mokoko says, Magashule says there's no room for negotiation, but the decision to hashtag Zuma recall can't change. The NEC is on the confuse the enemy note. Hashtag the Zuma exit. Banim Tomboti says, wonder what other hashtag NEC members are actually thinking watching Magashule's performance. Hashtag the NEC briefing that took place a short while ago, while Faith Daniel says second president to be removed in a democratic dispensation. Not a very great track record. And hashtag Zuma. And we're going to leave it there with your tweets for now. Oh, we do have Musi Maimane there, the leader of the DA, saying this hashtag Zuma recall is an internal ANC resolution, nothing more. Has no effect on Zuma's status as the president. Unless Zuma tenders his resignation, this recall is not even worth the paper it is printed on. Only Parliament can remove Zuma through a motion of no confidence. Bringing that conversation back to the main desk, of course, the opposition now calling for a dissolution of Parliament. Professor Poison.